Hi friends, welcome to Katrathu Tamil. Today we are going to see 10th Standard Unit 1 Supplementary, The Tempest. It is a very famous tale which was written by Shakespeare from Charles Lamb's Tales. Before moving on to the story, we'll see about the author. William Shakespeare. He was lived between 1564 to 1616. He is an English poet, playwright and an actor. He is regarded as the greatest writer in the English language and the world's greatest dramatist of all time. He is often called England's national poet and bard of Avon. His works consist of approximately 37 plays, 154 sonnets, and 2 long narrative poems. This is a short note about the author. So, before moving on to the story, we see about the main characters of the story. The first character is Prospero. He was an old man. He is the Duke of Milan, which is the King of Milan, and he is the father of Miranda and Antonio's brother. Okay. The next character is Miranda. Miranda is a beautiful young lady and Prospero's only daughter. Then we will see about Sycorax. Sycorax is a witch. She is the mother of Caliban too. Then Ariel. Ariel is the good spirit which helps Prospero in all the ways. Then Caliban. Caliban is the ugly monster. He is also the son of Sycorax the witch. Then the King of Naples. He is the Prospero's enemy and father of Ferdinand. Then Ferdinand. Ferdinand is the Prince of Naples and he is to the son of King of Naples. Then Gonzalo. Gonzalo is the kind lord of Prospero's court. Okay. Now we'll move on to the story. There was an island in the sea, the only inhabitants of which were an old man named Prospero and his daughter Miranda, a very beautiful young lady. She came to this island so young that she has no memory of having seen any other human face than her father's. They lived in a cave made out of a rock. It was divided into several apartments, one of which Prospero called his study. There he kept his books, which art. He had released many good spirits from a witch called Sycorax, who had them imprisoned in the bodies of large trees. These gentle spirits were ever after obedient to the will of Prospero. Of these, Ariel was the chief. Ariel took rather too much pleasure in tormenting an ugly monster called Caliban because he was a son of his old enemy Sycorax. Caliban was employed like a slave to fetch wood and to the most laborious offices, and Ariel had the charge of compelling him to these services. With the help of these spirits, Prospero could command the winds and the waves of the sea. By his orders, they raised a violent storm, in the midst of which he showed his daughter a fine large ship, which he told her was full of living beings like themselves. "Oh, my dear father," said she, "if by your heart you have raised this dreadful storm, have pity on their sad distress. See, the vessel will be dashed to pieces. Poor souls, they will all perish." "Be not so amazed, daughter Miranda," said Prospero. "There is no harm done. I have so ordered it that no person in the ship shall receive any hurt. What have I done been in care of you, my dear child? You are ignorant. Can you remember a time before you came to this cell? I think you cannot, for you were not then 3 years of age." Prospero starts to say the story to her daughter. 12 years ago, Miranda, continued Prospero, I was Duke of Milan and you were a princess and my only heir. I had a younger brother whose name was Antonio, to whom I trusted everything. My brother Antonio, being thus in possession of my power, began to think himself the duke indeed. The opportunity I gave him of making himself popular among my subjects awakened in his bad nature a proud ambition to deprive me of my dukedom. This he soon effected with the aid of the King of Naples, a powerful prince who was my enemy. "Wherefore," said Miranda, "did they not that foe destroy us?" "My child," answered her father, "they dared not. So, dear, was the love that my people bore me. Antonio carried us on board a ship, and when we were some leagues out at sea, he forced us into a small boat without either tackle, sail, or mast. There he left us, as he thought, to perish. Out of my coat, one Gonzalo, who loved me, had privately placed in the boat water, provisions, apparel, and some books which I prized above my dukedom." "Oh, my father," said Miranda, "what a trouble must have been to you then." "No, my love," said Prospero, "you were a little angel that did preserve me. Your innocent smiles made me bear up against my misfortunes. Our food lasted till we landed on this desert island, since when my chief delight has been in teaching you, Miranda, and well you have profited by my instructions." "Heaven thank you, my dear father," said Miranda. "Now tell me, sir, your reason for raising this sea storm." "Know then," said her father, "that by means of the storm my enemies, the King of Naples and my cruel brother, are cast ashore upon this island." Having so said, Prospero gently touched his daughter with his magic wand, and she fell fast asleep. For the spirit, Ariel just then presented himself before his master to give an account of the tempest and how he had disposed to the ship's company. And though the spirits were always invisible to Miranda, Prospero did not choose she should hear him holding conversations with the empty air. "Well, my brave spirit," said Prospero to Ariel, "how have you performed your task?" Ariel gave a lively description of the storm and of the terrors of the mariners, and how the king's son Ferdinand was the first who leaped into the sea, and his father thought he was his dear son, swallowed by the waves and lost. "But he is safe," said Ariel, in a corner of the isle, sadly lamenting the loss of the king, his father. "That's my delegate, Ariel," said Prospero. "Bring him here. My daughter must see this young prince. Where is the king and my brother?" "I left them," answered Ariel, "searching for Ferdinand, whom they have little hopes of finding, thinking they saw him perish. Of the ship's crew, not one is missing, though each one thinks himself the only one saved, and the ship, though invisible to them, is safe in the harbor." Ariel then went to fetch Ferdinand. "Oh, my young gentleman," said Ariel, when he saw him, "I will soon move you. You must be brought, I find, for the Lady Miranda to have a sight of your pretty person. Come, sir, follow me." He followed in amazement the sound of Ariel's voice till it led him to Prospero and Miranda, who were sitting under the shade of a large tree. Now Miranda had never seen a man before except her own father. "Miranda," said Prospero, "tell me what are you looking at yonder?" "Oh, father," said Miranda, in a strange surprise, "surely that is a spirit, Lord. How it looks about! Believe me, it is a beautiful creature. Is it not a spirit?" "No, girl," answered her father. "It eats and sleeps, and had senses such as we have. This young man you see was in the ship. He is somewhat altered by grief, or you might call him a handsome person. He had lost his companions and is wandering about to find them." Miranda, who thought all men had grey faces and grey beards like her father, was delighted with this appearance of the young beautiful prince. And Ferdinand, seeing such a lovely lady in the desert place, and from the strange sounds he had heard, accepting nothing but wonders, thought he was upon an enchanted island, and that Miranda was the goddess of the place, and such he began to address her. He timidly answered there was no goddess but a simple maid, and was going to give him an account of herself, when Prospero interrupted her. He was well pleased to find they admired each other, but to try Ferdinand's constancy, he resolved to throw some difficulties in their way. Therefore, advancing forward, he addressed the prince with a stern air, telling him he came to the island as a spy to take it from him who was the lord of it. "Follow me," said he. "I will tie your neck and feet together. You shall drink sea water, shellfish, withered roots and husks of acorns shall be your food." "No," said Ferdinand, "I will resist this," and drew his sword. But Prospero, waving his magical wand, fixed him to the spot where he stood, so that he had no power to move. Miranda hung upon her father, saying, "Why are you so ungentle? Having pity, sir, I will be his surety. This is the second man I ever saw. and to me he seems a true one. Silence, said the father. No word more will make me chide you, girl. What, an advocate for an impostor? You think there are no much such fine men, having seen only him and Caliban? This he said to prove his daughter's constancy, and she replied, my affections are most humble. I have no wish to see a goodlier man. Come on, young man, said Prospero to the prince, you have no power to disobey me. Prospero had commanded Ferdinand to pile up some heavy logs of wood. King's sons not being much used to laborious work, Miranda soon after found him almost dying with fatigue. Alas, said she, do not work so hard. My father is at his studies, he is safe for these 3 hours. Pray rest yourself. Oh, my dear lady, said Ferdinand, I dare not. I must finish the task before I take my rest. If you will sit down, said Miranda, I will carry your logs the while. But this Ferdinand would by no means agree to. Prospero, who had enjoyed Ferdinand this task merely as a trial of his love, was not at his books as his daughter supposed, but was standing by them invisible to overhear what they said. Ferdinand inquired her name, which she told, saying it was against her father's express command she did so. And then Ferdinand, in a fine long speech, told the innocent Miranda he was heir to the crown of Naples and that she should be his queen. Prospero then appeared before them. Fear nothing, my child, said she. I have overheard and approve of all you have said. And Ferdinand, if you too severely used you, I will make you rich amends by giving you my daughter as your wife in future. All your vexations were but trials of your love, and you have nobly stood the test. When Prospero left them, he called his spirit Ariel, who quickly appeared before him, eager to relate what he had done with Prospero's brother and the king of Naples. Ariel said he had left them almost out of their senses with fear at the strange things he had caused them to see and hear. When fatigued with wandering about and famished for want of food, he had suddenly set before them a delicious banquet, and then, just as they were going to eat, he appeared visible before them in the shape of an harpy, a voracious monster with wings, and the feast vanished away. Then, to their utter amazement, this seeming harpy spoke to them, reminding of their cruelty in driving Prospero from his dukedom and leaving him and his infant daughter to perish in the sea, saying that for this cause these terrors were suffered to afflict them. The king of Naples, Antonio, the false brother, repented the injustice they had done to Prospero. Then bring them here, Ariel said Prospero. Ariel soon returned with the king, Antonio, and old Gonzalo. This Gonzalo was the same who had so kindly provided Prospero formerly with books and provisions when his wicked brother left him as he thought to perish in an open boat on the sea. Grief and terror had so stupefied their senses that they did not know Prospero. He first discovered himself to the good old Gonzalo, calling him the preserver of his life and then his brother. And the king knew that he was the injured Prospero. Antonio, with tears and sad words of sorrow and true repentance, implored his brother's forgiveness, and Prospero forgave them. And upon their engaging to restore its dukedom, he said to the king of Naples, I have a gift in store for you too, and opening a door, showed him his son Ferdinand playing chess with Miranda. Nothing could exceed the joy of the father and the son at this unexpected meeting, for they each thought the other drowned in the storm. The king of Naples was almost as much astonished by the beauty and excellent graces of the young Miranda as his son had been. Who is this maid? Said he. She is the daughter of this Prospero, who is the famous Duke of Milan, of whose renown I have heard so much, but never saw him till now. Of him I have received new life. He has made himself to me a second father, giving me this dear lady, said Ferdinand. No more of that, said Prospero. Let us not remember our troubles past, since they so happily have ended. And then Prospero embraced his brother and again assured him of forgiveness. Prospero now told them that their ship was safe in the harbor and the sailors all on board her, and that he and his daughter would accompany them home the next morning. Before Prospero left the island, he dismissed the Ariel from this service to the great joy of the lively little spirit. Okay friends, the story ends with peacefulness. Okay, this is the end of the story. Now we'll see about the interesting facts about the story. This play The Tempest was written between 1610 and 1611. Then, many critics and historians believe it to be one of the last plays of the William Shakespeare. It is considered to be one of the Shakespeare's well-written plays. It is believed that the play The Tempest was based on an actual wreck of a ship called Sea Venture of Bermuda that was headed to Virginia. There is a strong evidence that Shakespeare used elements of the story of the wreck. Okay friends, I hope you loved the story. To see like these videos, subscribe to Katrathu Tamil, like, share and comment. We'll see you in the next occasion. Thank you.